Today, again, rapid fire news stories that we should be thinking about that we're missing, that they're barely touched. But again, in our 15-second kind of intervals of getting news, we miss out on really the big story behind it. Let's jump into 5 quick headlines, hitting the subject, talking quick opinions, making sure you get the story so you can build the best and wisest way to look at it in a common sense approach, so that way you can prepare for you and your family to be the very best and also to know what's going on in the world that you're living in. Let's jump into it. Today's video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here. You know, we received rain the last 2 days. We have been in a crazy drought. It's not enough, don't get me wrong. We're still in a crazy drought, but it was good to have some rain. Look, I don't know if you can tell because it's kind of far off, but you see that right there? That's the pines that I was telling you about. Now, if you look right beside those pines, that's still green, and all that is all our land. All that's green too. It's slowly but surely creeping that way, and that's what scares me, because there's no loggers around here cutting timber. That's not really good timber. That's not like cutting saw or logs. That's more pulpwood because it's so little, but that's what's happening here in the south. That is what you don't want to see in your pine thicket. So anyways, I was going to show you that from the video that we talked about the water and the pines here in this area. Before we do, remember there is 2 giveaways. We have a giveaway coming up in just a few days on November 15th for a phenomenal package from one of our sponsors, from a business who believes in survivalship. We'll talk a little bit more about it as it gets closer, but it's free to you. All it takes is you subscribing to this channel, giving us a thumbs up, telling us you subscribed. Also, we're doing another giveaway with Survival Seeds. We want to help you grow. We're willing to give you seed vaults for no cost, and Survival Seeds is helping partner with that. There's a link below in the description. All it takes, again, is you subscribing, you putting your email in that giveaway. It's free. That way you can be entered in both giveaways simultaneously for free, and we want to be able to say thank you for watching us here at the Max. Now, number 1, retiring Pentagon official says UFO activity is either aliens or other people. Whatever it is not good. Now, do I believe that there are some kind of aliens out there? I don't. I believe that's a farce. I believe that's a psyop for us to panic and have fear. I don't believe ET is coming home. I really don't. Here's what I do believe, though. You're seeing more and more retired Pentagon officials, more and more retired special security clearance people saying there's something going on. Now, the something going on is not UFOs. I think that they want to make you believe that there's some little alien in Area 51. I believe the scary thing is there is more military capabilities and more unbelievable capabilities from all the billions and trillions that we are personally seeking into technology, but also what China, Russia, Iran, or whomever is seeking in those same capabilities. I believe we're seeing a next generation style of warfare and weaponry that will cause some major problems, because I don't know if this technology, I don't know if we have the technology to understand it and capabilities if it's not ours, or if we're trying to hide the truth about us having way more capability than anyone really knows. This is something dangerous because, again, if we don't know what the capability is, that means someone has a better capability than America. Number 2, if we are the ones doing it, we're being very hidden and inconspicuous with the American people, which could be a detriment and push us to war. Started raining, had to move under the porch. But let's go back to that. I have no problem with us getting more technology and building newer technology to be able to face the world's problems. I think we need to get back to a defensive and taking care of our country, though, than starting wars. And I'm scared that with this UFO kind of mentality and this kind of newer spec ops or maybe new technological advancements in warfare, I think it just scares me, because I think it helps us push ourselves into more wars to try things out. And that's scary. If it's someone else doing it, again, I think that's even scarier, because we don't have the capabilities to stop whatever they may have on that flying object. Number 2, man charged after he fired 2 shots trying to prevent a purse snatching in NYC subway. The story here is not the fact that the guy got arrested, and that's a bad deal. The story is not the fact that there's a criminal that's trying to steal a purse in New York City. That's not the deal either. The biggest issue is we are now to a point where we have to leave criminals alone. We're not willing to help our neighbor anymore. We've moved upon that. You know, we see these videos of all these people in the streets getting hurt and getting mugged and getting stabbed and getting shot, and bystanders just walk by, and then people say, well, why didn't nobody help them? Why is that person hurting and bleeding and everybody just keeps walking with their coffee or their phone and not helping? Well, this is why. A good Samaritan comes in and says, look, you're not going to steal this purse, does not shoot at the guy, does warning shots now, meaning he's not shooting towards the gentleman, and instead of the thief getting arrested, the man who is trying to be the good Samaritan gets arrested. The moral of the story is, as much as we want to help people, they don't want you to, because they're going to allow thieving to keep happening, because it builds to the plan of, again, what? More chaos means more control, and if you have good people with self-defense tools, that is hurting their narrative. This guy got arrested for being a good Samaritan. If that was my wife, I'd say kudos to you, brother. Thank you so much for standing up for my wife. But no, that's not what he's getting. So that's why people just pass by. Are we building a whole civilization where we're not going to help each other? That's very dangerous. And if we don't get a hold on that, especially in our cities, it's a measure against good Samaritans and against self-defense tools. Both of those things help control chaos. Well, guess what? They don't want to control chaos. Chaos brings control, and that's what they're looking for. Number 3, there was a story from Epic Times that says New York farmers face uphill battle against mounting regulatory burdens. Now, this is happening all over the world. We talked about the Dutch farmers. We've talked about other situations where the aging farmer is not able to afford the tax, the regulation, or the crops are not doing well. There's more enforcement going on. This green energy situation, fertilizers can't be bought. We're seeing a war against the farmer again because there is a narrative behind it. If we can make sure people are not independent enough to take care of their food system, and we break it, when we break the food system, that means we need to be more manipulative, and it allows the government to step in. Well, if the government steps in, they're not owning the lands. They may buy the lands. They may take the lands for eminent domain. They may take it for FEMA. They may take it for emergency management. But here's the kicker. You're starting to see where people are saying, we don't need the farm anymore. We can grow it in a petri dish. Well, if the narrative is, I want to get away from independence from the food people who can grow food. Remember, I can give you survival seeds in this giveaway. It costs you nothing. And if you want to buy the seeds, it's $1 a pack. So you can spend $50 and grow the biggest garden that can feed your family for a whole year. But that means you have independence. You have your own food system, and you are not going to be as controlled. More regulation means farmers are saying, I'm done with it. I cannot do it anymore. I cannot fight this battle. I don't have the money to fight the battle. And then guess what? On top of that, these farmers have thousands of acres of land. That's their only asset. Well, the more that we see taxing on these farmers and they're not able to bring in the money, the more they lose their land. And then the big billionaires, big businesses turn around and buy them out. So no more private farms, all big farms owned by big players who are pretty tight with the government. That's scary. You're seeing more and more regulation on the farmer. Start pushing your congressman, kind of like Thomas Massey did last week or a week or two ago, where he said, you know, we don't want to make it hard for people to sell to their neighbor if they want to. Look at the liberties and freedoms to be able to sell to your neighbor. I went to Walmart the other day. I had to go pick up something random, and they had syrups that were flavored in every kind of bad cereal that you can imagine. High fructose corn syrups that you can put on anything, 5,000 different flavors for $2 or $3. However, I cannot sell my raw milk to my neighbor. That's a problem there. I think that this is what you're seeing. The farmers are getting ostracized and getting aged out and getting bought out and persecuted against, overregulated, to where then there is no independence in growing food. There is no food system from the farmer to the table. It's all about big business, big players, and control. Solution is you have to either grow food. If you can't grow food, you start supporting those farmers. If you're paying 25 cents to 50 cents more per pound, it's probably worth it. Remember, support your farmer because you know it's always there. If you can support your local chicken layer who's got, you know, eggs, support them. It's worth buying from the farmer or the farm stand down the road, or go to the farmer's market or have a CSA. It may cost you a little bit more. I don't think it will, especially when you weigh out your options with health and all that. But if you can learn to buy from the farmer, you are supporting a community style agriculture that then you have the freedoms. You build this whole nucleus of food system for your local place. for your local city, town, or community. That is how you combat this situation. Number 4, Moody's came out, which is a credit rating system, said that they are downgrading the U.S. value, meaning financial system and the way we have piled up debt, racked up debt, and our economy is not strong. They're saying, well, you know what? You may not be the first world country and the exceptional country that you once were. When you start seeing these kind of credit ratings come in, and this happened again in the recessions, this happened again several times in our history, and it always caused problems. Downgrading in our ratings means it costs more to borrow money, or we can't borrow as much money. We can't print as much money. Well, guess what? We're still doing all those things, and we're still getting downgraded. What's the next step? Do you realize that our economy runs solely and specifically on people borrowing and spending money? It has nothing to do with building your own money up. It has nothing to do with being a strong country. They need you to borrow money. They need you to spend money that you don't have. We're a consumer-driven culture. You know the only thing good about our economy right now? Look it up. Is the fact that people are still borrowing money and still paying for things with debt. If this keeps happening, not only are we going to see a financial downfall when it comes to our personal finances, we're going to see the same thing on the national side. We cannot borrow ourselves out of this problem. 2 solutions, very easy. Try to do side hustles and get your money on a plan. Build a budget. If you don't have a budget, you are blowing it. Guess what? This goes nationally too. Cut spending. Don't start any new policies, any new plans without cutting something else. I thought Mike Johnson did well on the Israel situation, that he cut spending through IRS to advocate for something else. Now, I wouldn't have done with Israel, I'd have done the southern border, but I digress. What I'm saying though is if we don't get our congressmen understanding the severity of this, they hold the purse. The Republicans hold the purse, so I blame them when we have funding issues because all they got to do is stop it. Stop everything. Government shutdown's coming soon. Or they're going to do another stopgap. Stopgap means they're going to kick the can down the road. Don't allow them to do that. We have to get on a budget. We have to cut our debts and wants and start doing necessity spending only. Your eyes will deceive you. Number 5, there was a story that came out that said deep fakes to be indistinguishable from reality by 2024. So what we hear, what we see, especially on screens, may not be true. Guess what that means? That means you have to do the digging. You have to do the research. If you see a AI generated thing, you may not know if it's real or not. They're already coming out, and some people are like, oh, I could tell it's fake. They're saying by 2024, the capabilities of AI, which I believe I told you AI is the fall of our civilization, I believe, more than anything, because we're going to rely our whole lives on this virtual style reality and these computer-based systems where it's going to make us where we can't understand and we can't believe anything that we could even see. We see this random Joe Biden or this random Trump or this random whoever up there speaking. Is it true? Is it truly them, or is this AI-generated deepfakes? More and more you're going to see this. So what does that mean? You have to do your own research. First of all, you need to go back to your Bible and start gaining wisdom through Scripture. It is as relevant as it was 2,000 or 3,000 years ago is still relevant today. So the only way we're going to gain wisdom is going back to the main source of wisdom, which is Christ. But secondly, we have to put our heads together, find a common sense approach, and when something's a little sketch, guess what? It may be sketchy. Meaning, if we think, oh my gosh, that would never happen, he would never say that. Well, then believe that and say, you know what, I better do my own research, because there's going to be someone out there that knows the truth. There's going to be someone out there who was with whoever this person is to say this is fake. Don't just hear, don't just see. You've got to be discerned. You have to understand discernment. You can't believe in even whatever you see. You may not believe it anymore. If it's not tangibly in front of you, you better start second guessing it and make sure you are building discernment, because that right there could cause catastrophic events. What if all of a sudden we see a deep fake of some leader calling out USA and saying we're going to bomb them? That's a way that we could go to war, isn't it? Because we believe that was real. What if all of a sudden we see one of our presidential candidates saying something very, very crass to another person about America and how they're going to give all the secrets away? It may not be true. Could be true. Guess what? Discernment. Trying to find truth and not just relying on one source or even two sources. You may need to go to multiple sources. I challenge you to go back to look at ground news like we were talking about. You're going to see 20 or 30 different sources on one topic. That way you can build true discernment. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. It's starting to rain heavier, so I'm glad of that. We still got to move cows, still got to work the farm. It doesn't stop, but it is nice to see some rain because we've seen more and more fires around here. We're still in a crazy drought, so I'm so thankful that God is blessing us with rain. Let me know what's going on around your neck of the woods. Are you seeing rains? Are you seeing winter weather? Are you seeing crazy heat? What are you seeing? And not only this, in all seriousness, think about these things that we talked about. We talked about the things that are getting banned. We talked about the foods. We talk about a lot of the same thing because I want you to see that there's stories each and every day that's absolutely taking away from your freedom and trying to make you believe something that even you may see here that may not be true. Have discernment, gain wisdom. Again, seek spiritual truth more than anything. All the while, love your family. Take care of them. God bless. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you so much for being here today. Happy homesteading, y'all.